Picture for a moment that old TV screen flickering, the characteristic sound of a VHS being inserted into the player, and suddenly you find yourselves transported to a golden age of cinema. A voice that we all recognize echoes through the room, deep, striking, almost divine. It's Morgan Freeman, and today you're going to discover the financial secrets behind that voice that narrated our lives, and this man who became much more than an actor. He became an institution. The secrets of the stars who marked generations are about to be revealed. So buckle up, because this journey is going to stir your nostalgia in ways you never imagined. Did you know that Morgan Freeman received more than $10 million for some films where he appears on screen for just a few minutes? And that there's a specific role he almost refused, but which ended up becoming the most lucrative of his entire career, earning millions not just in initial salary, but in royalties that continue to drop into his account to this day. Get ready, because the financial story of this Hollywood giant will surprise even the most dedicated fans. There are contracts he signed that changed not only his life, but the entire film industry, and there are also those roles he refused that could have earned even greater fortunes. The truth about the numbers behind this legend will leave you jaw-dropped. Morgan Freeman wasn't born in Hollywood, quite the opposite. He came from Mississippi, from a humble family, and his journey to becoming one of the most recognized voices on the planet was long and full of obstacles. In the 60s and 70s, Freeman was working in theater, earning some spare change here and there, without imagining that one day he would be one of Hollywood's highest-paid stars. His first relevant television work was on the children's show The Electric Company, where he earned only a few $100s per episode. No one could have predicted that this young actor, already in his 30s, would become synonymous with wisdom and authority in world cinema. Freeman's first films earned modest paychecks, between $10,000 and $50,000, amounts that today seem laughable compared to his current million-dollar contracts. But it was exactly this gradual trajectory that built his solid reputation and transformed him into the reliable actor that studios began to compete for at gold's weight. The financial turning point in Freeman's career happened with Driving Miss Daisy in 1989, where his paycheck jumped to $500,000, a considerable amount for the time, especially for a black actor in Hollywood. But the real boom came with Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven in 1992, where Freeman pocketed $1 million, definitively establishing him in the circle of first-tier actors. The Shawshank Redemption in 1994 earned him $2.5 million, an investment that studios initially considered risky, since the film wasn't an immediate box office success, but which transformed into pure gold over time, generating royalties that continue to earn Freeman millions to this day. In A7 in 1995, his paycheck rose to $5 million, and with Kiss the Girls in 1997, Freeman was already in the $8 million range per film. What's interesting is that many of these contracts included profit participation, a smart strategy that multiplied his earnings exponentially when the films became successes. But Freeman wasn't just an actor who accepted any role for money. There are fascinating stories about his negotiations, especially when he began to be sought after, to be the literal voice of God in various projects. For Bruce Almighty in 2003, Freeman initially hesitated to accept the role of God, not for financial reasons, but for fear of being eternally typecast in this role. However, studios offered $10 million plus a percentage of profits, an irrefusable proposal that resulted in one of his most memorable and lucrative roles. There's also the famous negotiation for $1 Million Baby, where Freeman accepted a smaller paycheck, $4 million, because he believed in Clint Eastwood's project, a decision that proved right when the film swept the Oscars and earned substantial bonuses. One of the most interesting renegotiations happened during Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, where Freeman started earning $5 million as Lucius Fox in Batman Begins, but managed to renegotiate to $8 million in The Dark Knight and an impressive $15 million in The Dark Knight Rises, taking advantage of the franchise's growing success. Freeman also developed a unique strategy in the market. He became one of Hollywood's most sought-after narrators, charging between $1 to $3 million just for his voice in documentaries and commercials. His narration in March of the Penguins earned $2 million for just a few weeks of studio work, one of the best deals per hour worked in Hollywood history. But not everything was roses. Freeman refused roles in films that became billion-dollar successes, like the mentor role in The Matrix, which could have earned tens of millions considering the franchise's success. There are also reports that he was offered to play the president in Independence Day, but refused for considering the script too fantastical, losing an $8 million paycheck that went to Bill Pullman. When we compare Freeman with his contemporaries, the numbers are revealing. While actors like Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson frequently command paychecks between $15 to $20 million per film, Freeman established himself in a consistent range between $8 to $12 million, but with a much higher frequency of work, often resulting in superior annual earnings. His strategy was different from the big action stars. Instead of betting everything on blockbusters, Freeman diversified his portfolio with dramas, thrillers, comedies, and documentaries, creating multiple income sources. Hollywood, initially, doubted whether to invest million-dollar amounts in an actor who started his film career relatively late, at 50 years old, but Freeman proved that age and experience can be an actor's greatest assets. His paychecks grew consistently even after passing 70, something rare in an industry obsessed with youth. The most impressive thing about Freeman's financial career is that he built an empire that goes far beyond movie paychecks. He invested in film production through his company Revelations Entertainment, participating in the profits of various projects. His most recent contracts include merchandising clauses and image rights that continue to generate income decades after the film's release. It's estimated that just from the Shawshank Redemption royalties alone, Freeman continues to receive between $1 to $2 million annually, almost 30 years after the film's release. His total fortune is estimated at more than $250 million. Built not just with astronomical paychecks, but with smart investments and impressive artistic longevity. Freeman transformed his characteristic voice into a registered trademark, charging premium values for narration work that other actors would do for a fraction of the price. Morgan Freeman's financial journey is living proof that talent, persistence, and business intelligence can build a legacy that transcends generations. From those first $10,000 to current million-dollar contracts, Freeman showed that it's possible to be artistically respected and financially successful without compromising integrity. He became more than an actor. He became an institution, a voice that has accompanied us from childhood to adult life, narrating documentaries, commercials, and mainly our most precious cinematic memories. So tell me in the comments, which Morgan Freeman role marked your life the most? Was it the wise Red in The Shawshank Redemption, the kind God in Bruce Almighty, or maybe that unforgettable narration you heard in some documentary on a rainy afternoon? Share your memories, because this is the true wealth that Freeman built. Not just millions in his bank account, but millions of hearts he touched throughout more than 5 decades of career. And remember to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because we still have many fascinating stories about Hollywood's financial backstage to share with you.